Okay, so now we move on to the next topic, that is the need of non-linear amplitude control. Everyone ready for the new topic? Hello. So we will continue this till we complete this topic, because next lecture onwards we are starting with the 555 timer. Can anyone respond yes or no? Can we begin now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine, thank you. So let me just go through it 2 minutes systematically via theory, and then we will see that then why we go for non-linear amplitude control. So the motivation is that the oscillation conditions, that is the Barthusian's criteria, guarantees sustained oscillations in a mathematical sense. So that is A into K should be 1. Okay. So but it is a well-known fact that the parameters of any physical system cannot be maintained constant for any length of time. In our case, we cannot maintain the power supply voltage constant at a particular value, or the circuit parameters might change due to change in the temperature. So that is what the meaning of the statement is. We cannot keep any parameters of any physical system maintained constant for a long period of time. So in other words, suppose we work hard to make A into K as 1 at F equal to F naught. So let's say now if the temperature changes, so A into K, the product will become slightly less than unity. So in such a case, the oscillations will cease to exist. It will stop. It will die out basically. Okay. Conversely, if somehow if the temperature changes and circuit parameter changes and makes the loop gain A into K greater than 1, then oscillations will grow in amplitude. Okay. It will be overdamped oscillations. So it will reach the limit, upper limit plus Vsat and minus Vsat, and again we'll get a clipping or distortion in the output waveform. Therefore, we need a mechanism for forcing A into K to remain equal to unity at the desired value of output amplitude. Okay. So this task is accomplished by a non-linear circuit for gain control. Okay. Now, what are the function of this gain control non-linear circuit? So firstly, that the oscillations will start, and we designed the circuit such that the A into K is slightly greater than unity at the startup. And as the power supply is turned on, the oscillations will grow in amplitude. And whenever the amplitude reaches the desired level, the non-linear network comes into action and causes the loop gain to be reduced to exactly unity. So this action will cause the circuit to attain the sustained oscillations at the desired amplitude. If for some reason A into K reduced below unity, the amplitude of the sine wave will diminish. Okay. So this will be detected immediately by a non-linear circuit element network, which will cause the loop gain again to increase exactly to unity. Okay. Now whatever we have said, we will directly see that in a circuit now. Okay. Now let me expand it now this. Okay, everyone, can you see this circuit diagram? This is basically a general limiter circuit or an inverting amplifier with a limiter with output gain limiting. Okay, so can you see the circuit diagram? So if you just concentrate on the black color, that is an inverting amplifier with input V in. This is just inverting amplifier with a limiter circuit. Okay, so this is the green color and the blue color components over here, that is the diode and the resistors, are my limiter, will provide the gain limiting. Okay, so we'll first concentrate on this, and then we will go on to the next topic. Then we'll implement this gain, the limiting circuit in the phase shift oscillator circuit. Okay, now let me start with this. Okay, so what is the principle of this limiter circuit for amplitude control? This is applicable, wherever we have a inverting amplifier in a feedback in a part of oscillator circuit. So we can apply this, this diodes and this green color, all the 4 resistors over here. So the principle is it utilizes an element whose resistance can be controlled by the amplitude of the output sinusoid. So by placing this element Now this element is this non-linear, the non-linear diodes and the resistors. So by placing this element in the feedback circuit, the circuit can be designed to ensure that A into K is equal to 1 at the desired output amplitude. So diodes are commonly employed to implement the control resistor element. So this element is my diodes. So to now, actually, if you see the transfer curve of this, the transfer curve of this will come like this. I hope that you all know what do you mean by the transfer characteristics of any circuit. So this is my transfer characteristics for this circuit over here. Okay, so normally if you see carefully, this is the V out versus V in plot. So here we have a straight line with a slope minus Rf upon R1. That means during this curve, during the straight line, I have a gain of, I have a slope of minus Rf upon R1, and the circuit is just behaving as a normal inverting amplifier with a gain of minus Rf upon R1. Okay, so this is that region, the red color region, which is straight line. So this is the slope. Okay, so over here, the non-linear element, that is the diodes, are off basically. And whenever a non-linear element take into existence, come into existence, the slope changes. So over here in the positive limiting part, the slope changes to minus Rf upon Rf parallel to R4 into divided by R1, and here it is minus Rf parallel to R3 upon R1 basically. Okay, this is R1. Okay, so we will see that shortly now. And the positive limiting level is called as L plus. This is just a notation. Okay, don't consider it as why we have not written it as V. This is just a notation. So over here we have L minus. L minus is the negative limiting level. Now let us concentrate on this, and we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so to understand how this transfer curve is obtained, we need to investigate the various cases. Okay, let me just reduce it a little further, and let us quickly complete it now because we have only 15 minutes with us. Okay, so first case, now please concentrate. First case we consider, for small input voltage V in, we get a small output voltage V out. Remember, it's an inverting amplifier, so for a small input voltage, we'll get a small output voltage definitely. And because it is the amplifying with a gain of R1 upon Rf upon R1 minus Rf upon R1. So the node voltage is VA is positive over here, and the node voltage VB is negative right now. Fine. So node voltage VA is positive, means that it will make the diode D1 off, and node voltage VB is negative, means it will again make the diode D2 off. For a small input voltage, we get a small output voltage, right? So that V out is very small. So basically we have VA to be positive because it is coming from VCC, right? So VA is positive, correct? So over here V is also negative, so VB will be negative. So VA and VA is positive, VB is negative, which will make diode D1 and D2 off. So when we have both the diodes off, our circuit reduces to this inverting amplifier, providing a gain of V out is equal to minus Rf upon R1 into V in. So this is our equation number 1. Anyone having any queries in this? Why the circuit is acting as an inverting amplifier right now? Because the diode D1 and D2 are off right now. Because VA is positive and VB is negative, or very small input voltages. Everyone following? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So this is the linear portion of the limiter transfer characteristics. This over here, we can see this. This is the linear portion. So with a slope of minus Rf upon R1. So here the amplifier, the op amp will act as the inverting amplifier. Okay, the next is we can apply a superposition theorem, and to find the voltages at the node A and B in terms of VCC, VEE and V out. Okay, so here we have it. The first expression for so we can write VA in terms of VCC and V out. Over here we have it over here. See over here, VA, VCC and V out. basically what we are assuming is that we are the virtual ground is because it is a negative feedback. Basically the virtual ground concept will be clear. So since V plus terminal is at virtual ground, V minus also will be at virtual ground. Okay, so we can apply this concept of superposition theorem very adeptly over here. So we have first circuit over here like this, V plus like this. So we can apply one by one superposition theorem. So one case the V out will be active, other case the VCC will be active. So if you combine that together, so in first case if if VCC is active, so we can write VA as R3 upon R2 plus R3, because if VCC is active, V out will be grounded, and in the second case if VCC is grounded, V out will be active. So we get VA as VCC divided by VCC into R3 upon R2 plus R3 plus V out into R2 upon R2 plus R3. Okay, so this is our equation number 2. Anyone having any doubt in this? So next is VB. Similarly, VB we can write it as minus VE into R4 upon R4 plus R5 plus V out into R5 upon R4 plus R5. This is equation number 3. Anyone having any doubt in this? How we have applied the superposition theorem in here? Okay, fine. So no doubt. So case number 2 is as V in goes positive, a little bit higher. So we have an inverting amplifier. So V out go negative from equation number 1. We have seen that over here because V out is given by minus RF upon R1 into V in. Okay, so if V in increases, the V out increases negatively. So if V in goes positive, V out goes negative. And from equation number 3, what we have over here from equation number 3, VB will become more negative. Now why? Because if V in is increasing, V out is becoming more negative. Hence VB will become more negative. Agree? So this will make diode D2 off only. Correct, right? So from equation number 2 over here, since V out is negative, so this will make the VA expression as less positive. So over here we have this VCC into R3 upon R2 plus R3 plus V out. Now V out is negative, right? So entire V plus becomes lesser positive. And if we continue to increase the value of V in, V out will become more and more negative. So at one point of time, VA will reach minus 0.7. Okay. We go on increasing the V in, so V out will go on becoming more and more negative. And at one point of time, VA will become minus 0.7. So whenever VA becomes minus 0.7, what will happen? The diode D1 will turn on now. Are you? Whenever diode D1 turns, will become. So the circuit will reduce to this circuit now. Okay. D2 is still off. D2 is still off because VB is negative. So the value of V out at which D1 conducts is given by VA is equal to VCC. That the same expression. We are rewriting the expression number 2. So what was the expression number 2? VA is equal to VCC R3 upon R2 plus R3 plus V out into R2 upon R2 plus R3. Now we rearrange the term. We write V out. V out we take V out on the left hand side and rest all the terms on the right hand. So we have V out into R2 upon R1 plus R1 plus R3. Sorry, R2 plus R3 is equal to VA minus VCC into R3 upon R2 plus R3. Now we rearrange the terms again. We take this. We multiply this. We take this R2 upon R2 plus R3 on the right hand side. So we get V out is equal to VA into R2 plus R3 upon R2 minus VCC into R3 upon R2. So you can work it out and see whether you got this equation or not. So I'll just keep. Okay. Now from this diagram, whenever a diode conducts, it is replaced by a VD on battery, right? VD1 on, basically we can call it VD on only because both the diodes are symmetric. So whenever diode is on, VA is minus of VD on. Now, can anyone explain me how this has come? Why VA is minus VD on? Anyone? Hello. Can anyone try to explain why, if diode is on, VA is the node voltage VA is actually minus VD on? I've already told you all that V minus terminal is at virtual ground. Okay. So basically VA voltage will, the entire negative voltage will come across VA with respect to virtual ground. So hence we have VA as minus 0.7 or minus VD on basically. So in this expression we substitute V out is equal to minus VCC upon R2 divided by R3 divided by R2 minus VD on into 1 plus R3 upon R2. So that's the expression which we are getting. And we are calling this V out as L minus. This is just a notation, okay? This is basically a voltage only, but it's just a notation denoting negative limiting level. So if you write it properly, L minus is given by negative limiting level is given by minus VCC into R3 upon R2 minus VD on into 1 plus R3 upon R2. That is our equation number 4. Okay, and that is what we get over here. This negative L minus is given by this expression, minus VCC upon R3 divided by R2 minus VD on into 1 plus R3 upon R2. This is our equation number 4. Fine with it? So the V in, basically the V in is obtained by dividing L minus by the limiter gain. Okay, so this is the limiter gain minus RF upon R1. So V in is obtained by dividing this L minus, this is the output level, the negative level, by the limiter gain, that is minus RF upon R1. Okay, fine. So now if V in increases beyond this value, now what is this value? Over here, this value we are calling it, right? So if V in increases more, what will happen? The more current is injected into the V in increases more means what? Here the more current is injected, the diode will become, D1 will become more forward bias. So we can say that the voltage across the diode doesn't change much, but the current increases. So the more current is injected into diode D1 and VA will remain approximately at minus VD on. Okay. So does the current through the R2, now you see over here, the current through the R2 will remain constant because VA is at constant voltage. So additional diode current will flow through R3. Okay, so that means what? That means what? Effectively, we can say that this R3 over here, this is effectively R1. D1 is on, so it was replaced by a normally a short circuit basically. So this R3 will come in parallel with RF. Okay, ignoring the diode resistance, we can say that R3 will become parallel to RF over here. So over here in this feedback loop, we get instead of RF upon R1, we get minus RF parallel to R3 upon R1. Everyone following this? Minus upon RF parallel to R3 divided by R1. Why we got RF parallel to R3? Did you all understand this? I again repeat, the VA is a constant. The diode is conducting, so the current through the I2 is also a constant. So here, since the diode D1 is conducting, it is replaced by normally a very small diode voltage, so that we can consider it to be like a short circuit. So this R3 will come in parallel to RF. Okay, so that's why we have RF parallel to R3 divided by R1. So that's what we have. That's why we have this slope as minus RF parallel to R3 divided by R1. Okay, this is R1 basically. By mistake, I've written over here. I hope that that's why instead of RF minus RF upon R1, we get this slope. Okay, so the slope of the transfer curve in the negative limiting region is given by minus RF parallel to R3 upon R1. Okay. Now, similarly, we are not going to derive for L plus. Similarly, the L plus expression will be given by VCC similarly. So it will be given by VCC into R4 upon R5 plus VD on into 1 plus R4 upon R5. And similarly, the slope in this region is given by minus RF parallel to R4 parallel to RF divided by R1. Okay. So we conclude that this circuit over here is performing the function of a limiter with the limiting levels V plus and V minus over here. So V plus and V minus. So this limiter gains can be independently adjustable by selecting the appropriate resistors over here of R2, R3, R4 and R pi. Okay with this? Now let me show you the simulation, the LT spice simulation of this. So let me open the limiter circuit. This is just a limiter circuit. Huh? We have not applied. Yeah, this is the limiter circuit, as you can see. Okay, I guess this is the op-amp limiter circuit. Yeah, this is the limiter circuit basically. R2, R3, R4, R pi, R1, RF, and this is my op-amp. So we have just, this is not the oscillator circuit, okay? We are just testing it. Okay, the input has to be this. I am showing you the transfer curve. Let me remove this. So over here, yeah, you see this is the curve which we are getting. This is the transfer curve, and this is corresponding to this curve over here. Okay, we have a slope of minus RF upon R1, and here the slope changes slightly, as you can see. Okay, so these are the values, I mean, we have taken. Okay, and now the same thing. Now this entire circuit, whatever we see over here, this is a limiter circuit. Okay, and this we apply to our yeah. I think you can see this. This we apply to our phase shift oscillator. So this R1 RF, which is my gain, and this is my RC element. So this is my phase shift oscillator, wherein your blue color and the green color is my limiter. Okay, and if I apply it over here, this will definitely control my output amplitude perfectly. So here over here we take the value of we take these values R2 R5 as 3K and R3 R4 as 2K, R1 is 24, RF is 900, C is 0.1 microfarad, R is 6.5. So this is designed for F naught equal to 100 Hertz, and if you work out in a calculator, L plus is coming out to be 9 and L minus is coming out to be minus 9. Okay, the upper limiting level and the lower limiting level. Okay, now let us test it out in the circuit, actual circuit. So let me open the circuit diagram, the entire circuit diagram. I hope that this is visible to you. This is my RC phase shift oscillator with the gain limiter circuit. Okay, so I think here the R3 value is how much? Let me check. Okay, the R3 value in over here is around R3 and R4 is 2K. So let me substitute this as 2K. This is 2K and R4 is also 2K. I hope you can see all this. This RC element is 0. C element is 0.1 microfarad, R is 6.5, RF is 900, R1 is 24K. These are the two diodes which we have, and these are the elements R2, R3, R4 and R pi. So this is my non-linear gain control. Now let me simulate this circuit. Okay, so here we are getting very stable oscillations. Let me check with the amplitude now. Okay, so here the amplitude of this waveform is, let us check. We were supposed to get around a plus 9 and minus 9, but we are getting how much? We are getting 8.6 and minus 8.6. So why there is slight difference? Because here over here in the circuit we have assumed that the diode voltage is 0.6. It may not be 0.6, it might be slightly 0.54 or something like this. So that's why that difference is coming. Basically the diode voltage is not exactly 0.6, it's slightly around over or less about that, but we are getting plus minus 8.6, and we are supposed to get plus minus 9 with this limiting level, upper limiting level and the lower limiting level. and we can test out the frequency also. Frequency will also come out to be 100 hertz. Okay, and now just by controlling the registers, just by controlling the registers R3 and R4. So over here R3 and R4 is changed to 0.5. So my L plus and L minus is 2.7 and minus 2.7 respectively. Let us check that. So let me change to 0.5 this, and this also has around 0.5. Okay, and let me simulate it again, and I should get plus or minus 2.9, 2.7. Let us check how much we got. So let me just maximize this. So we are getting very stable and controlled oscillations now. So here the maximum value is 2.3. That's absolutely fine because the diode voltage is not exactly 0.7, and here it is minus 2.3. Okay, so we are supposed to get around the amplitude should be around how much? For this, it should be around minus 2.7 and plus 2.7, and we are getting around how much? We are getting this amplitude around 2.32 or 2.33 and minus 2.33. Okay, so that's how we can get a very stable output, amplitude control. So the oscillator amplitude control is achieved by changing R3 and R4 values simultaneously to different values like 0.5 kilo ohms, 1 kilo ohm, 1.5 kilo ohm and 2 kilo ohm respectively. Okay, so this is how we can achieve the non-linear amplitude control in a RC phase shift oscillator. So with this, we have completed op-amp based oscillator circuits. We have started with Wien bridge oscillator, and we have also seen the RC phase shift oscillator. We have seen the design, the derivation for the frequency of oscillation and the gain of the feedback network. And also we have referred one design for both, that is the design of Wien bridge and design of RC phase shift. And we have explicitly seen in detail the amplitude control for both the circuit. Okay, anyone having any query related to this topic? Non-linear amplitude control, anyone? So with this, we are concluding today's topic of RC phase shift oscillator, and next time we are going to start with 555 timer.